where the Knicks brought the brooms. Jalen Brunson and the Knicks looking to eliminate Joel Embiid and the Sixers. And Monica, I don't know exactly which adjectives to use to describe Deuce McBride's shooting in the first quarter.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Green. I mean, this is a shooter's dream.
He was 4 for 4 from 3 on 4 consecutive possessions.
Greeny, the Knicks had 22 catch-and-shoot threes in the first half. 14 of them were unguarded.
OPEN.
Just destroying people. Allen, there's Karl Anthony Towns getting in on the act, and then Brunson will as well.
Yeah, the two stars did what they had to do, but this was really a team effort. It felt like what Deuce McBride did was unlock everybody because everybody felt hot.
The Knicks made 18 threes in the first half. That ties an NBA playoff record. They were up 81 to 57. Mike Breen, pick it up from here.
Oh, wow.
Brunson, another excellent game, 17 points, 6 assists, the crossover, the drive, inside, reverse, he's got it! Sweet move from Jalen Brunson, deflected by McBride, Brunson a 3, bang! It's a 29-point lead.
This play, just a perfect illustration of what the day was like. Embiid just couldn't get there. Brunson had too much. Bunch of help from his friends. Knicks fans took over the building and the city of Philadelphia yesterday. Respect in the end, but it was the Knicks in dominating fashion. If it is possible to say that a 30-point margin, it wasn't as close as that, this was that game. The Knicks have now won 7 straight playoff games, longest streak in franchise history. They've outscored their opponents by 194 points over 10 games in these playoffs. That is the best differential by any team over any 10-game span in the history of the sport. I'll remind you, they've lost 2 playoff games. Both of them were by 1 point. So their differential is ridiculous. The win man was watching from Chicago. What are the right first things to say about the Knicks sweep of the Sixers? Wendy.
Well, what you're seeing right now is basically a generational heater by this Knicks offense. They are absolutely playing on full bore, all attack, great execution, great teamwork. They have completely upset the opposition by going to this offense that features the high post of Karl Towns as the trigger man. Brunson is absolutely at the top of his game, both as a distributor, as a driver, as a shooter. Their role players are hot. They lost OG Anunoby for these 2 games in Philly, and it didn't slow them down one iota with, I'm going to call him today, Trace McBride, crushing it. And now I will point out that the Knicks won't play again till Sunday at the earliest, which on one hand, you don't want to slow them down with this kind of heat. But on the other hand, they need it to rest some injured players, including Anunoby. Great situation for the Knicks right now.
It couldn't be going any better if you're a Knicks fan. I can tell you this is where we live and work. The city is going completely crazy. And Jay Will, I'll give you the credit. You came in here on Tuesday morning last week after game 1 of this series. And you sat right in that chair and you said to me, Greeny, for the first time in my 18 years at ESPN, I'm going to say the following words on TV. This Knicks team could win the championship. So you had it 3 games before the whole world figured it out.
I also want to take a second today because obviously we'll talk about shooting and we'll talk about their offense. But you have to give Karl Anthony Towns a round of applause. I mean, regardless of however Joel Embiid looked, he attacked. He was relentless. Last night, 17 points, 10 assists. And by the way, him being unlocked by Mike Brown has opened up this system in order for them to be the best version of themselves.
We're going to have plenty of time to dive deeply into this, but we had a little Breakfast Club conversation this morning, Jay Will and Alan and I. And Alan, that's the point about Karl Anthony Towns, that the world might have been measuring his offensive output the wrong way.
Yeah, throughout the season, a lot of the questions about Towns' role in Mike Brown's offense was he's not getting enough shots. He's not getting enough shots. And I had talked to him about it during the season, and a couple of times he said to me, it's not about how many shots I'm getting. It's getting the ball and being involved in the offense to do more with the ball. And what he's talking about is why he wears the number 32 for Magic Johnson, because he sees himself as a passer. And it was something that Mike Brown said, we stumbled upon this. And Karl Anthony Towns is saying, I've been trying to tell you, this is what I want to do. It's not about shots. It's about what I can do as a hub of the offense. and they think there's more they can build off of this.
Look, so Monica, for all of the fans who didn't watch the Knicks play all season long, this style of offense, particularly with Towns handling the ball the way he is, this is not the way they played all year long.
No, it's not. I think there were wrinkles of it initially, but you had to sit through what looked more like Sacramento's offense with DeMontis Sabonis. Yep. You had to get through that to get to this. Now, the arc of the season is really incredible as you watch this team. There was a down in January versus Cleveland where it was like all hands on deck team meeting, like blah. So I think they really had to come to sort of a meeting of the minds in terms of the expectations of the players who have been here and knew this is a renovation, not a demolition project, right? And then Mike Brown and his staff, to his credit, who he has empowered through this postseason run, what actually works best for us. But truly, Greeny, the fact that they ran into this Atlanta Hawks squad that did not have a matchup for Karl Anthony Towns is when it became so blatant how effective he could be as a passer.
Wendy, go.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that the Knicks now will do is they have some practice days here, not only to rest, but they can, they can prepare some wrinkles in this offense. Like Alan talks about stumbling on it. Well, how about having a little mini training camp over there? I mean, they have earned this break and they can put in some new wrinkles. This is really an opportunity. When you do really well in the postseason, you get into this rest versus rust. I'm going to tell you, always want rest, and you can go back into the lab here. They may be able to surprise the opponent in the next round with some new wrinkles that they can put in with number 32, the Magic Man, Karl Towns.
The other thing I think is important when we talk about these wrinkles is, yes, Karl Anthony Towns is the headliner in terms of how this team looks right now, but you also got to give a ton of credit to Mikal Bridges on both sides of the floor. Yeah. That also has unlocked a component where there's just more options that a defense has to be attentive to. Typically, Mikal Bridges was a guy that scored a couple of baskets in the first quarter, and then you may or may not hear from him. That has not been the case in this playoff.
Also, you got to give a lot more credit to Jalen Brunson to learn how to play off the ball
Trusting
as
his
well.
teammates.
And by the way, the ball has so much more pop to it, and it keeps everybody defensively on their heels.
Yeah, and that's the part that's working here. It's the whole pace and space kind of thing, right? And when you're getting those kickouts, you're getting a lot of these three-pointers. If you see most of them, they're open threes. Like, that's a big part of this. Yes. And so you're going to get into a rhythm. They were a top 3 offense. Let's not forget this during the regular season, and they were one of the top three-point shooting teams in the NBA. So this is not like they were a bad offense that turned into a good one. They were a good offense that's turned into an epic one.
And look, matchups have a lot to do with it, and the Sixers and all the rest of that. I want to give you a sense of how the show is structured today, because Wendy's going to have to go to a flight, so we have him for a fairly limited time this morning. So I want to make sure I touch on everything with him, and then we'll have more time to dive a little more deeply into some of the other topics. I want to get Wendy's reaction to the comments that Joel Embiid made after the game is over, after his team was swept and there's really no other way to say it, embarrassed on their home floor over the weekend. This was the way Embiid reacted.
I know we lost, and I know that's not the right mentality to have. But, for me, this was a success. We came into the season thinking that, there was not much left, based on the last 2 years. And now I'm sitting here, not even worried about my knee. I know who's going to be here. I don't even know if I'm going to be here, but, whatever happens, happens. But, for me, I'm excited about, really getting back to myself.
All right, so that was Embiid after the game talking about, among other things, how his knee feels better, and he doesn't know where he'll be next year. He doesn't know where anyone will be.
Where's he going?
Wendy, I think that's really the point.
Jay.
Wendy, where are we right now with the Sixers going forward?
Well, let me say that I do think this was a success because they beat the Celtics in that first-round series with the comeback. Embiid was awesome. They hadn't beaten the Celtics in 40-plus years. It's a little bit worrying to hear him say we came into the season thinking he was about done, considering he has 3 years and $192 million left on his contract, which is a new extension, which will begin next season. And that is why I can promise him he will definitely be back. He is not going anywhere. The Sixers do have a couple of free agents, Kelly Oubre, Quentin Grimes, that they have to deal with. But, with him and Paul George locked into enormous salaries, this is going to be a team that's going to mostly have these guys next season.
Where does it go from here, Jay?
You're stuck in purgatory. I mean, I don't know what you do. Look, the name of basketball right now is trending towards speed. Look at the way OKC plays. Look at the way the Spurs play. Look at the way the Knicks play. Look at the way Detroit plays. It's pace and space. And it feels like almost you're anchored to the past with a guy like Joel Embiid. And look, we can unpack what Joel Embiid said,